Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Sebi. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make the 5-hour bed quilt. This is a new pattern that I'm putting out where essentially you're making a gigantic 9-patch out of a layer cake and some yardage, and it goes together super quick and it's super easy. So this is a great project to make as a gift or just so you can have a holiday throw. I've got kits available for this project, so check out my website, quiltaddictsanonymous.com, if you could like to get the pattern and the kit to go with this. And it's in this fun holiday fabric. It's called Winterberry by Moda, so you can get started now and actually have it done in time for the holidays. Well, I have the top 2 rows of my layer cake out. That's just because I can't fit the 3rd row on my sewing table, so we'll just pretend that that's there. But it's super, super easy. All you have to do is lay out your layer cake blocks in the corners and the center of your block. And then in the outside rows, you're going to have your yardage that you're going to cut. And all the instructions are in the pattern that goes along with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make one split 9-patch here for the demonstration for this tutorial. So I'm just going to put right sides together on my edges here and bring my sewing machine a little closer and have those out of the way. And I'm just going to set my sewing machine to a 1/4 inch stitch, which is what we use all the time in quilting. And I'm just going to sew these together. And it really is super, super quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew the rows together, the top row, the middle row, and the bottom row. Alright, so I have my rows sewn together and I put my sewing machine to the side because now we need to press. And since the yardage in this instance is so light, we're going to want to make sure that we press so that the seam is underneath the layer cake. So go ahead and set your seam and then just open up that piece that you put together and press that open. Go ahead and show a close-up for this next side. This quilt really is super easy and super fast. You can get an entire double-sized quilt, fit a double bed, done in about 5 hours from start to finish, and that makes it perfect for the guest bed or just your couch throw so that you have something special this holiday season. I'm going to go ahead and keep pressing. You should too. Make sure you're pressing so that the seam is underneath the layer cake. And then we're going to come back and we're going to put the rows together next. So I finished sewing together and pressing my rows, and now it's time to sew them together to make a giant 9-patch. So it's just like putting a little one together. You're going to flip your fabrics right sides together. The seams are going to abut nicely because of the way we press them. And then you just stick a little pin in there, and then we're ready to put it through the sewing machine, and we're going to do this for both sides of the row. Alright, I've got my sewing machine back out, and now it's time to start sewing together the top row of my 9-patch to the middle. And this quilt is just so fast and easy to put together. You can do the entire thing from start to finish in about 5 hours. And it makes a bed-sized quilt that fits about a double bed, so it'd be great for that pull-out couch for guests stopping by in the holidays, or a couch throw so you can stay nice and cozy with your cup of hot chocolate in the wintertime. But you really can just zoom through this and be done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish sewing the seam, and then I'm going to sew the bottom row to the center too, and then we'll come back and we're going to actually cut this apart to make that split 9-patch, and then we're done. Alright, I have the giant 9-patch sewn together, and I pressed my rows so that the seams are going underneath the outside rows. And now it's time to cut it apart into 4 separate units. Now you should have 4 3/4 of an inch if you're going to cut right down the center, but if you struggle with accuracy with your piecing, just measure the distance between the seams on your center blocks and divide that measurement in half, and that's the number that you'll cut it from. But if you've done it correctly, then you're going to line up your ruler with 4 3/4 of an inch mark on the seam line between your blocks. So once you've done all that and you know that everything's nice and square, just cut right on down the center. And you're going to need to, unless you have a giant mat, you're going to need to readjust your block as you're cutting, and that's all right. Just square everything up again and then cut. And then when you're all finished with that, just turn it around the other way and cut in half again using that 4 3/4 inch mark. And then we're going to have 4 split 9 patch units from the one giant one, and that's all you have to do. You just have to lay it out at this point in a layout that is pleasing to you. There's a layout diagram in the pattern that goes along with this tutorial, and you can also get the kit and get this beautiful red, mint, and gray fabric from the Moda Winterberry line. Just check it out at quiltaddictsanonymous.com. Thanks for following along. I hope you enjoy this super easy project. It really is pretty simple. If you can do a 9 patch, which most beginner quilters can, you can do this project. So enjoy and happy quilting.